With the horrific events that have unfolded in Nottingham, here at FFTV, we would like to pass out our condolences and thoughts and prayers to the families involved, and remind everyone not to speculate about what has happened and just to support. Good morning, good evening, or good night, wherever in the world you are, whatever time of day you're watching this. Thank you for joining and welcome to your latest Nottingham Forest news. In today's video, we will be talking about silly season. Yeah, very silly. We're talking about Marinakis and the way he's going about to acquire a left back for Nottingham Forest, as well as goalkeeper links, centre back links. It's all starting to kick off as the transfer window will officially open tomorrow. Before we get into it all, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to Forest Fan TV if you are new here, and don't forget there's still a few tickets available for the signed Morgan Gibbs white shirt. The link is in the description. All right, let's get on with the news and let's start with Brennan. Last week we brought you the story about Brennan Johnson and how the likes of Everton and West Ham were interested in signing him. And now apparently Aston Villa are interested and monitoring the situation with Brennan Johnson. This is just silly season. Brennan Johnson, as we mentioned before, is not for sale. Not for sale under any circumstances according to the club. However, that doesn't mean he's not for sale because every player has his price. But I don't see anything in and around what's being quoted as the £40 million mark that would pry him away from Nottingham Forest. And he is an asset, as we've mentioned previously, that will grow and grow as he develops and becomes a better player. What is interesting to see, though, is that the tiering of the teams that are interested in him now is increasing. From the lowlifes of Everton and West Ham, now up to Villa, who do have European football. Yes, I know West Ham got it with their Euro Trash Cup, but Villa got it on merit in the league. So therefore, it's good to see that these links are happening. I would be offended, I've said this many times before, if clubs weren't interested in Brennan Johnson. I'm interested in buying a Ferrari, but you're not going to see one parked outside my door anytime soon. So being interested and reality are two different things. And this Ferrari is not for sale. Therefore, it's going to be just paper talk at the moment. It's really hard for columns to be filled while the transfer window is closed, while players are on holiday or international duty, etc. So a story coming out that's just saying that these clubs are interested kind of tells you more about the journalism work that's going on in the papers currently than the actual truth behind it. And there's just going to be so many of these types of links. Look, here on FFTV, we will talk about all these stories because that's what we do. We don't create the stories, we just react to them as fans and we get your opinions on them as well. But while the subject of Brennan Johnson is up, and we spoke about this in the live stream yesterday, let's assume he was for sale, which he's not. What would be your price tag on him? How much would it cost, do you think, or what would you be happy to see for Brennan to go? Maybe there are some of you who would actually cash out on him, but for me, his asset price could double within the next year or two, and that's only going to help Forest. But get your thoughts in on Brennan down below. After passing of the Monza owner, the Serie A club obviously became up for sale. And Marinakis has been in negotiations since I believe early March to take over the club and expand his vastly growing empire. Marinakis has all but been confirmed today as the new owner of Monza, and this is very interesting for Nottingham Forest. Monza, who play in Serie A, finished in mid-table last season and put a good account of themselves, are going to be part of the new Marinakis family. That's added, of course, to Nottingham Forest and to the likes of Olympiacos. But what does this mean for Forest? And is there a little subtlety behind it? As Augusto, who has been linked with Forest very heavily, but also with Inter, who seem to be the front runners for him, plays for Monza, and potentially could Marinakis be doing a Greek father special and buying a club to push the left back towards Nottingham Forest. Remember, he's in the last year of his contract, He's scouted at being worth about 8 mil, and according to all reports that I'm hearing about him, he's an absolute top-notch quality left back. Again, I'll remind you, I haven't seen much of him, so I can't comment. This is only third-hand information I can give you, but he is a very attack-minded left back, someone who scored a few goals last season and got a handful of assists as well in a mid-table Serie A team, in a league where defensiveness overrides attacking, and it is very, very hard to get yourself a bag full of goals and assists. So he does come highly rated, and the fact that Inter are scouting him would normally put them in the driving seat. However, with Marinakis holding the purse strings there and the keys to the contract, could he potentially push him in the way of Nottingham Forest? What do you guys think? What do you guys know about the left back? If he's one you've seen, let me know your thoughts on him. I'll be more than interested to read those comments. Get them down below. Okay, so very quickly, with Augusto potentially coming in with Marinakis buying it, what does this mean for Luddy? Well, at the moment, things aren't looking in our favour for Luddy, as he may actually end up back in Brazil. And this, again, is all to do with family ties. Look, for me, whatever Luddy decides on his future, I will be obviously more than supportive with it. We had a fantastic season with him, and therefore, it is his right. He's not a Forest player. He was out on loan to Forest. Yes, we did have the option to buy. Yes, that expired in March, etc. But this one doesn't feel like it's going to go ahead, and Forest will probably have to look at the likes of Augusto and a few others potentially to replace him. But don't forget, we've also got Tuffalo, we got the one-legged Omar Richards as well, and Nico Williams, who can deputise as left back. So the latest on Luddy is that potentially he will be going back to Brazil. Now, if he does, I'd love to see him at Palmeiras. Our boy Mario, if you're watching, he'd be a fantastic addition to your squad. And it is a club that has been linked with him. But we'll keep you posted on what's going on with Luddy. Let's move on to goalkeepers. Okay, let's give you a goalkeeper update, and for once I can say it's not going to be about Dean Henderson, as that still is ticking along. This is more, I think, to do with the second choice goalkeeper, with Horvath potentially not wanting to stay at Nottingham Forest to play second fiddle. Now, the goalkeeper from Spezia, Dragowski, who came from Fiorentina and had a really, really hot season about 2 seasons ago, and is now potentially open to a move away from the Serie A club. He has a release fee clause of 9 million, which is nothing in this market, especially at this top level of Premier League football. He's a Polish player. He's very well respected in the footballing world. And it does make me question whether or not he would come and want to play second fiddle. Is he good enough, though, to be between the sticks at Premier League level? The answer is we don't know, because he's never done it. However, does he want to come and play second fiddle? It's a tough one with goalkeepers. You can never be too sure. It's a different beast and a different animal to an outfield player, because there is only one position up for grabs. And usually once a keeper has established himself in that position, the only way he gets out of it is through injury, suspension, or a real long bad run of form. And at the moment, you can't put that form finger at Dean Henderson. You could argue about the injuries, the ones that's kept him out since January, but he is set to be fully fit and recovered come the pre-season. And therefore, assuming the Dean Henderson deal goes through, this to me looks more like a number 2 signing than a number 1. And I think he would create some decent competition for the gloves. But I still think his ambitions would be higher than to be number 2, especially with how good a keeper he is and how well regarded he is. So for me, do I believe this one? I think the price is attractive. I think the 9 million release fee clause is very attractive, but I'm not convinced he would come to play second fiddle. Now, some of you may conspire and think, well, does this mean that something's going wrong with the Dean Henderson deal? I haven't heard anything or seen any reports to suggest things aren't going ahead smoothly. It still seems that it's the whole De Gea situation that is holding things up. And traditionally, Manchester United have never been very quick when it comes to turning a transfer around. Therefore, I still think things are fine with Henderson, as long as I haven't just jinxed that. and that this is a number 2 recruit, because we do have another goalkeeper that's linked, and we'll come onto him in just a second. So I think this is more to do with Horvath potentially wanting to be a number 1. Moving on, you've got the likes of Shelby, who's probably going to go out on loan. And then the question is, where does that leave Wayne Hennessy? Wayne Hennessy, who's still holding the gloves at Wales internationally, for me is not good enough at Premier League. Although recently when deputised just before Navas came in, was okay. At Crystal Palace was okay. But I just don't think that he is good enough anymore, and I think maybe Forest will look to move him on. We do need to thin the herd a little, and getting rid of a keeper is probably something we have to do. But what do you guys think, and would you take him? And let's move on to the second goalkeeper link. The second goalkeeper is from the Turkish league and from the club. Here we go. Let me try and pronounce this one for you. Trabzonspor. And it's Sakir. Sakir, who is 27 years old, quite highly rated and quite longly been sought after from Nottingham Forest. They've been keeping tabs on him for a while. This is a player I haven't seen too much of, to be honest. So I can't give you much more information than that, but it is showing that as the links grow with goalkeepers, potentially Forest will be looking to sign 2 goalkeepers this window, assuming the Dean Henderson deal goes through. So I can't stick around on him for long because I don't know much about him, but if you guys have watched him play, let me know down in the comments below. Okay, let's move on and talk about another centre-back that has been linked to Nottingham Forest. And there are a couple of things with this centre-back that do excite me and interest me. One, he's less than 30 years old, less than it by 5 years. Secondly, he's Brazilian. And you know how much we love Brazilians at the moment at Nottingham Forest. He currently plays for Fiorentina. Oh, by the way, his name's Igor as well, which is nice and easy to pronounce for once. He's a left-footed centre-back, usually plays on the left side at CB, but can also play as a left-back, and sometimes in emergencies could be used as a left winger. However, pace-wise, he's okay, fairly decent strength, decent all-rounder really in defence, and coming from the Serie A, as we all know, is a very defensive league, is very well drilled. Didn't start for Fiorentina in the Eurotrash final, but did make an appearance during the game. I wouldn't be opposed to this signing at all. He ticks my profile in terms of what I'm looking for a centre-back. Is he on my shopping list? Absolutely not. But for in and around probably about £8 to £10 million, again, wouldn't be too much of an outlay. Now, he's not the marquee signing name that we're all hoping and expecting for and getting excited about. That hopefully will come once the window has opened. But he could be one that pushes for a first team place. Now, that would add to the point that potentially Forest are clearly being linked with a lot of centre-backs. So it doesn't come as a surprise to me that we will have to have some leave the club. We did discuss this again in the stream on Sunday night. And if Forest are bringing centre-backs in with already 5 or 6 senior centre-backs in the club, some will have to go. And the names that keeps coming up on the chopping block is McKenna. Now, there's been nothing on McKenna leaving apart from general fan speculation about it. I probably do see him potentially being moved on. But if it was up to you and you were going to bring in another centre-back and maybe have to get rid of 1 or 2 of the senior players, who would you guys be looking to move on? Let me know in the comments down below. But this Igor player doesn't look too bad, and I would definitely take him over the likes of CS, however you pronounce his name, and a few of the others that we have been linked to who are not only post 30, but getting closer to 40. Get your thoughts in the comments down below. Okay, and there is talks now about new Premier League salary caps that are coming in. Dino has done a fantastic piece on it on the High Press, so make sure you go and check that out if you want to understand the potential new rules that will be coming in on salary caps in the Premier League. That brings you up to date with your Nottingham Forest news. I don't think the links are that exciting today, I'll be honest with you, as I always am. But we don't make the news, we just react to the stories that are being, put together. So hopefully these marquee names will start to come through as the window will open tomorrow for the transfer of the Premier League stuff. And maybe Forest will be linked with Mbappe now that he's moving on. You never know with the Greek father, do you? If you've enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to Forest Fan TV and the High Press if you are new here. And again, our condolences go out to the families and loved ones of all those affected by the incident in Nottingham today. And us as lovers of Nottingham, we should all unite together, offer our support and make sure that we stay together. Thank you so much for watching, and come on you Reds.